Blessings and welcome to today's Law Enforcement Daily Devotional. Today we're in Matthew chapter 27, Mark 15, Luke 22 and 23, and John 18 and 19. And we're in Passion Week. We're getting to Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection. I mean, we're right on the cusp of it. Today in in Matthew 27, chapter 5, Judas hangs himself. And for some reason today, I don't know why, but the fact that Judas hung himself before Jesus was crucified seemed to stick with me because we know Judas's history and we know what Judas was about. But man, Judas kills himself, commits suicide right before all the events of Jesus take place. I doubt the disciples even recognized the fact that Judas was gone because so much was happening with Jesus in the moment. I kind of wondered how long it took for them to recognize or realize that Judas was gone. Although when Jesus was arrested in the garden, all the disciples fled, so they may not have recognized it for quite a while. Doesn't matter. It's not a big part of the story. Verse 6, we get to this confession because of Judas. This confession that the chief priests make. The fact that they won't take his money back because they admit that it is blood money is another piece of evidence in their guilt for turning him over. And it's just an interesting confession by this group who think that they are righteous above all. Then in Matthew 27:11 through 14, Matthew does not give any details, or not many. He doesn't give many details about Pilate. He seems to really focus on Jesus and these trials. He doesn't talk much about Barabbas either. Barabbas is a very interesting character. He's an antichrist character. I mean, everything that Jesus stands for, he is against. He's an evil, murderer, rebellious individual. And Jesus is the Christ. Very quiet, humble. Just what a contrast between the two. I love the part in Matthew, verse 19. I think Matthew's the only gospel that records this, but Pilate's wife sends him a message and says, "Have nothing to do with this innocent man. I was bothered in my dreams all night because of this." I mean, she got a vision and she knew Jesus was righteous and tries to warn her husband, don't get involved with this. This is not good. But Pilate has no choice as the governor. In verse 22, we see Pilate, and he's even shocked at the bloodlust of the Jews who, man, they want to crucify Jesus. And Pilate will start going to see these trials, and Pilate's like, why? Jesus, he has his, to talk about the trials, we'll jump over into Luke 22:66. Jesus has endured his first trial, and we've seen that. We saw it yesterday. He's going to have two more. There's going to be 3 civil trials and 3 criminal trials, 3 different judgments. So he's had his first civil trial. He's been badly beaten. The chief priests and the elders had the illegal trial at night we talked about yesterday. Well, then they wait till the sun comes up. And then they have a second trial so it can be legal. So they have this second trial. Once the second trial is over, they take him to Pilate for his first criminal trial. Pilate declares him innocent. I mean, pretty quick. Pilate's like, no, I'm not getting involved in this. The man's innocent. And his wife's warning could have had a lot to do with that too, to cause him to, wake up, be alert. Something's about to happen. Jesus comes in. He listens instead of just going through the mundane practice of sitting on the judgment seat, on the pavement and casting out judgment. He's alert for this one, and he declares Jesus innocent. Luke 23:8. Pilate hears that Jesus is a Galilean, so he sends him to Herod, Pilate and Herod are enemies. but because of what happens with Jesus here, they become friends. But anyway, Pilate sends Jesus over to Herod, which is going to be Jesus' third and final civil trial. Herod mocks him, tries to talk to him, and then Herod declares him innocent as well. Herod says he's not guilty of anything. Send him back to Pilate. Comes back to Pilate in Luke 23:16, and Pilate, for a second time, he comes in. This is his second criminal trial, basically, because Pilate has to pronounce judgment again. Pilate says he is innocent. But just to make you happy, I'll have this innocent man flogged and beaten so that you will be satisfied that he has gotten some kind of punishment for whatever you think he's done, even though I'm telling you he's innocent. So Pilate here is guilty of having Jesus beaten nearly to death, knowing that he's innocent. Then in verse 22, Pilate announces the result of his second round, his second judgment. He says, what I just said, he said, I will punish him and let him go. The quote actually out of 23:22, and he said to them the third time, why? What evil has this man done? I have found in him no guilt demanding death. Therefore, I will punish him and release him. So this is the second verdict Pilate gives. The crowd, Pilate sees that this does not appease the crowd at all. They get ready to just, it's about to be a riot. And Pilate changes the verdict, which is basically the third trial, and says, okay, because you guys are going, because this is going to look bad on me and going to get me in trouble, I will acquiesce. I will bend over and give you what you want. And if you want him crucified, fine, then I'll crucify him. Pilate crucifies an innocent man. And then he asked Jesus that most famous question we see in John 18:38. Pilate says, what is truth? Because Pilate, man, at this point, he's condemned an innocent man. He's given into political pressure. The lines are so blurred. He's just like, what is truth? I don't know anymore. I'm confused. I'm so turned around. He was standing right in front of truth. Tomorrow we're in Matthew chapter 27, Mark chapter 15, Luke 23, and John 19. So read ahead. See you here tomorrow, and you guys be safe.